Hey everybody, welcome back. I have today a little tool that I was working on because I was curious to solve a potential problem that tends to hit a lot of new creators in the Shmup Creator community, myself included. So there are two things that you should never do with your project directory. One is you should never have a file name that has spaces. Sometimes, depending on how the engine does its magic to import those assets, will cause bugs. So no file name should have any spaces in them. And then the second thing is you should never have across your project directory a file with the same name. So because even though they're in different directories, the engine may get confused with which asset to use. So since this happens to a lot of folks, I thought I would try to work with ChatGPT. I kind of banged on it like a monkey with a typewriter to sort of half understand what was going on and to write a little script that could iterate through your project directory and look for any names in your project directory that have spaces in them. So with that, I'll post the link in the description here, but I just hosted this on Dropbox here, so I'm gonna do this for you here. So let's see here. We have we're gonna download this thing, and then we're gonna go over to downloads, and then here it will download a file name with spaces, no Python v1. So I first started working with this with Python. I want to make it easier for you to understand. You might have to run the thing as an administrator, but let's open this thing up real quick. So if you try to edit it, it'll be like, yo, hey, check it out. This is some code bits. So you have to go to more info. We're going to run anyway because it's my script. And then I'm not going to walk you through the whole thing, but short version is this is a batch file that you're going to drop in your project directory. I'll show you that in a second. And then it's going to basically look at all of the current directory in the project subdirectory folders. And then it's going to compare the file names, and it's going to look for file names that have spaces. And then it's going to output those to a couple of different files so then you can go and track those down. So, all right. So with that being said, you've downloaded the script. We're going to go ahead and make a copy of this, and we're going to go over to our project directory folder. So in your games folder, under documents, Bulu Studio, games, you're going to have, like I said, the games directory. We're going to go into, in our case, it's called DBK, but it'll be whatever your games project directory is. At this point, if you want peace of mind, feel free to make an entire copy of your project directory before you run this. Always a good idea to have backups. I've tested this enough. I know where I'm at with that. So then we're in the project directory. I'm going to paste the batch file, and then I'm going to double click the batch file. It's going to do its thing here while the terminal's open. You can see it's written some files here. Depending on the size of your project, it may take a little bit. And there we go. It finished. So so here it says, hey, it's written this debug log file to that location. And then it's also written this other file. So files with spaces underscore text. And then there's the debug log file. So you can see how the script went through. And then press any key to continue, closes the terminal window. And then you come into your project directory and you have two new fancy files. So you have files with spaces and you have files with spaces debug log. So let's open up the debug log first. So in the debug log, this is the entire Interstellar Sentinel project directory. So here, it basically is checking each of the directories. See that? And I'll probably come down here. Okay, and you can see here that it'll check in the directory, and then it'll say, "Hey, found file with spaces," and then here. Is that correct? Found file with spaces. There it is. So, and there's my space. You can see it right there in the file name. I don't expect you to do that. This is just for me to make sure things were working. So, and then so as it's looking, it's logging the ones that it's finding. It's then going through and iterating and checking the rest of the directory. And oh, interesting. Huh. I wonder. I think it checked checked everything. I don't know if the script just barfed out there. It might just be that that's the ones that it checked with. So, okay. And then the other file is files with spaces text. So this is the one that's easier for you to parse here. So it checked 2,828 files. These are all the files that it found with spaces. And then it tells you how many files that have spaces in the project directory. So I see, I mean, after 2 years of project development, there are cases where I have files. So now if you want to fix this, what's going to happen is you have to go into each of these assets in their directory, and then you need to change the file name, and then you need to rehook up everything where this might be referenced in your directory. So if you have scripts or you have items, things like that, you're gonna have to fix those, right? But this is, look, this is just trying to be helpful and maybe have a little tool to help people out. And I thought I'd get this up, and hopefully it's going to help. And just because I was curious, I paused for a second. I wanted to double check. So it says total files checked was 2,828. So I'm going back into my game project directory, going to right click, go to properties. I'm going to go to details, or am I going to go to details? Sorry, general. And there are 2,831 files in my project directory. So I think it's not checking. So that would be fine. 828, 29, 30, 31. Yeah, cool. So the math does add up. The difference is that, of course, when it checked, it didn't have the file with spaces text, the file spaces debug text, and it doesn't check. I don't think it checks its own the own bat file. So all seems to be good. You know, again, your mileage may vary, but I thought this would be helpful, and I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody.